Tom Peake, followed by Stephen Palmiere, followed by Kay Haulani, followed by Ilima de Costa.
Aloha kako. I'm Tom Peake, long ago an astronomy guide for the observatories and an eyewitness to 30 years of UH and DLNR malfeasance. Malfeasance driven by a combination of ethnocentric prejudice and unrelenting pressure from Hawaii's construction and tourism industries. Given that unsavory history, I challenge the legitimacy of these rules and the Office of Mauna Kea Management that created them. The seeds of these rules were planted in a notorious time when a blistering 1998 legislative audit finally exposed decades of UH and DLNR malfeasance. 10 years earlier, when I was beefing up our fledgling visitor information program, restricting islanders' access was definitely not supported by the mountain's astronomy staff. We knew that islanders had long feared that astronomy would take over the mountaintop, and we all understood that Mauna Kea belonged to them long before we showed up. That understanding was upturned by UH President Kenneth Mortimer and Institute for Astronomy Acting Director Bob McLaren, in their defensive, I would say even vindictive, response to the audit. Mortimer and McLaren and the BLNR chair denied most of the auditor's conclusions, blaming the public for whatever problems existed. And they proposed the first public access limits similar to those in these administrative rules. Sierra Club's Nelson Ho called that scapegoating the public rather than dealing with the industrialization and the commercialization of the summit. But even more disturbing, UH proposed creating their own management agency, an entity they could control. The Office of Mauna Kea Management was never intended to restore balance on the mountain, but instead to use sham planning and carefully contrived cultural consultation as political cover for building more telescopes and to begin limiting non-commercial access to the summit. Sierra Club, Mauna Kea Anainaho, the Royal Order of Kamehameha, Kalahui Hawaii, and others opposed OMK's creation because of its obvious conflict of interest, a fox guarding the henhouse. Instead, they proposed a wholly new management agency in which statutory right holders of this ceded land would manage the mountain on behalf of the public and native Hawaiians, rather than astronomers, tour companies, and the construction industry. But old boy politics prevailed. These rules are part of that unsavory history of malfeasance. Tools to completely take over the mountaintop, as big islanders feared in the 1980s, and to further empower an illegitimate OMKM. If enacted, the rules will almost certainly end up in court, as they should. And you regents will be tainted, as you should. Instead, please reject this rulemaking charade and embrace Hawaiian proposals for a new management agency that has no conflict of interest, and distance yourself from this OMKM mess. Mahalo.
Stephen Palmiere.